you go back home and you're like, oh yeah, this is how I grew up.
Did we do this?
Yeah.
Is that what really happened?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and
Yeah, it actually is giving me
It's like I was like,
spinal
"Ugh."
response. I'm like, oh. Hello everybody, welcome back to Pagoda 1 with...
Who was that? John from America.
Joanne from Canada.
George from the UK, I think. Welcome. Today we're discussing a kind of fun, interesting topic. Kind of a series, I think. We've made a sequel to a previous video now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which you can watch right here.
Yes.
This is going to be like an annotation, hopefully. Yeah.
Thumbnail, previous video, on the lovely topic of reverse culture shock.
Yes.
So what do we mean by reverse culture shock?
John from America?
Yes.
Reverse culture shock is basically when you go back to your home country and get shocked by your home culture.
Yes. So used to living abroad that you've forgotten or you've become accustomed to that culture.
Right.
And you go back home and you're like, oh yeah, this is how I grew up.
Did we do this?
Yeah.
Is that what really happened? Like,
So, John, you were in the OG reverse culture shock video. Have you been back to the US since that video?
No, but I've definitely talked to people from the US. And I have noticed something from just my memory of going back there. So don't worry. Have you guys been back?
I have not been back. It's been 3 years since I last was in Toronto.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Me too. Sorry. Pay for me. I'm just joking.
See ya.
See, you don't even say sorry. You're just like, whoops. Oh, well.
But your parents came here.
Yeah, my parents did come visit. So, yeah, I think I'm going to probably be talking about things that they were shocked about.
And I did go back home to the UK
Nice.
a few weeks ago at time of filming. Very fresh memory. It was my first time back since just before COVID happened. So I went back post... At least in the UK terms, post-COVID, the COVID rules are basically all gone in the UK. As far as I know, no real mask rules anymore, except if you're in like a hospital, a doctor's office.
Yeah.
Right.
So public transport, public places, anywhere, you do not have to wear a mask. You can, get penalized for it. Basically, I would say maybe 5% of people wearing a mask.
Ooh, like outside daily, not hospital type stuff.
Yeah, so that was strange. So I came from the airport, obviously wearing a mask on the plane, and just arriving there, it was like, and my brain suddenly just went back into the culture. It was kind of shocking just to see people's faces in the street. It was weird just being on a bus or in a train and just seeing people's faces, people eating as well, just eating on the bus, which we do. A coach, especially like long distance coaches and trains. Yay.
Since you mentioned the mask thing, though,
Yeah.
like when my parents came to visit, like they were not used to wearing masks at all.
Yeah, because they came
They came from
2 months
like,
ago?
yeah,
Or
2 months
this
ago.
summer, this year.
In Canada, there also aren't any regulations about wearing any masks in public. So when they came, they were like, oh, like we have to wear masks. So it would be like they would be leaving my apartment and I would put on my mask and I would be like, whoa. Where do you think you're going?
Yeah.
You can't leave the apartment without wearing a mask. And so they'd be like, oh, and then they'd have to like run back to the apartment.
Yeah, and I had that like when I was back home, getting used to not having to have one. So like I'd be going out to the car with my parents to drive somewhere, and I'd be like that feeling that you're naked.
Yeah.
I forgot
Where's my mask?
I forgot my phone. I forgot my wallet. I
have to
forgot my
go
mask,
back.
and I was like, oh, I don't need any of those things at this point in time. It was very weird.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I just remembered from like my parents being here. They were like, "What masks?" So
How do you spell that?
What is mask?
One of the things that I think I would be shocked about is if I was to go back to Toronto, the transportation system in Korea, like buses, trains, subways, they are all on time. Like they're like spot on, like with the time. Like if it says 27, it's there at 27, and like you'll have your little bit of time.
I'm not sure.
I don't trust buses.
Really?
I think buses run late. Not like
buses don't even have a schedule. They just
they
come
don't.
so
They just
regularly.
come right.
Yeah,
they
they just
come
come so
regularly.
regularly.
Yeah,
And when,
that is
to be
true.
fair, when it has the
Oh, yeah, it has
electronic
the-
screen and it says 4 minutes.
So
it comes
with buses,
minutes.
you don't like,
Yes.
oh, they're coming at 6:27. It's just every 6 minutes, every
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
minutes. Whenever you
Super
get
regular.
there is when you get there.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things in Toronto is the fact that, like, it's kind of a running joke that the subway system, like, there's always delays. Like, always. You're expected to be an hour late sometimes during the winter time because the snow gets on the tracks. So it's kind of expected for it to be late, but
Right.
I've never experienced that in Korea, especially due to snowfall. Like, that never happens here.
I think the United States Post Office has a slogan, like whether rain or sleet or snow or whatever, we'll
Rain,
always
sleet, or
get
snow,
your
yeah.
we'll always get your
your-
mail to you. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to rhyme. And I feel like buses here have that, or probably trains too have
Yeah,
that same
come rain or
mindset.
shine, they're there for you.
Culture shock that I definitely had
Sure.
when I went back there, and I would still have today, because every time I think about it, it shocks me.
Oh.
It is wearing shoes around the house.
Ah, yeah. This got
It's
me
just
as well.
when I was in the US, I kind of did this when I was a teenager because I didn't think about taking them off. There were some families who took them off and some who didn't. And I guess I just got used to taking them off, even in the US, because I was like, I don't know what type of family you are off or on. But coming to Korea and literally removing shoes, even at some restaurants,
Yes.
it's just ingrained so deeply
Yeah,
that
actually.
like I forget to turn off my light, and then thought of me walking across my floor to turn off the light 2 steps because really right next to my door. I'm like, no, I'll
Right.
just take off my shoes. Right? Why would I keep them on? Take them off, turn off the light, go back. And so going back home and seeing people like just walk in the door and keep walking, I was like,
Yeah, I had that one on my trip.
Yeah.
Because we had like people over to the house and all that. And it was like nails down a chalkboard.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
like there's little carpets as well. Like little carpeted floors which collect dirt.
Yeah.
People just walking in from outside in their shoes. I was like, no, like, oh, I just
Yeah.
feels so wrong. I never used to think that, but now I'm like, I
Yeah,
can
you
never.
You become like
I
the old
can't.
grandma yelling at people, take off your shoes.
Yeah, throwing shit at them.
Yeah.
My face has just had like this permanent state of disgust because I just can't imagine that. That's just like
Yeah, it actually is giving me
It's like I'm like,
spinal
ugh.
response. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thought of just I don't know. It's just so weird.
Yeah, and now that you mention that, like whenever I talk to my friends back home in Toronto, they've all told me that like I've started to develop these like weird conversational habits.
Yeah.
So many weird conversational habits where like I think in the previous video you were talking about like how you make the sound. I started doing that. Like I've only started developing this when I moved to Korea.
Yeah, me too. Actually, maybe.
Are you noticing this? So yeah,
So,
I never used to go like, but that is something that I've
Yeah, that
specifically
might be new.
developed
This might be a new
in
thing.
Korea.
Oh, that's
And so
weird.
that was like a really big shock to me because they were like, why are you making that noise? And I was like, what noise? They were like, the thing. And I was like, oh.
also agreeing with stuff.
Yes. Oh
Right.
my goodness.
Never used to do that.
Yeah, I never used to do that
My parents
before.
would stare at me like,
You're like,
I'm like,
and they're like,
like, can you say some words or like?
Or you're just making
Yeah.
noises at me. And I'd be like, And whenever my friends are telling me a story, they're like, is everything okay? And I'm like, no, like I'm
You're like,
listening to your I'm listening to your story. Like, yeah, I'm acknowledging what you're saying. And they're like,
stop.
okay. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
That is my reverse culture shock. The fact that I've picked up conversational
for
habits
sure.
and conversing with a lot of Koreans.
Another one, not so much conversation, but like gestures. So
Aw.
in the previous video, they talked about like hands, holding stuff, passing stuff with hands.
Right.
Lightly. And doing that when you go back home to your
Yeah.
country, and it looks really weird.
Yeah.
It's just not done.
Yeah.
But another one that I was noticing in the UK that I do is like the head bob or like
Yeah.
not like full bow, but like a bob of like hello or respect when someone gives you something. So someone would hand me my coffee or something, and I'd like
Yeah.
bob the head, and it's like no one was doing that.
You're like,
Yeah, just on the ground.
Thank you for the coffee, Jobs.
Literally. I'm like, okay. Yeah,
Since
no.
you mentioned the hand gestures, another social thing that I realized I started doing in Korea is that like whenever my friends say something funny, I'm just like the clap.
oh, so you never did the clap before?
I never did the clap before. I don't know why, but it's ingrained in me now. So whenever my friends like say something funny, I'm always like, ah. So I never used to do that before I came to Korea.
Man.
Canadians don't really clap when they laugh.
I've seen it in America a lot. Like people will do the knee clap or they'll do this, but I've never done it
Clap, yeah.
personally. But I've
Kind of like
had-
this, no.
No, like I'm just like,
What about the cover the mouth when laughing?
No.
No, okay.
oh no, that's like a tee-hee moment, like.
Yeah.
Tee-hee.
These sort of things I don't really notice because I'm
You're just so used to them.
I'm so used to them. So I'm like, I wonder what I do. My brother's coming, hopefully soon. So I'm gonna see what he notices.
He's
gonna
like,
be
why are
like-
you doing that? That's weird.
Like, dude, what?
Well, those are some of our random examples
Yeah.
of our reverse culture shock or things we've noticed that have changed about our individual behavior from
Yeah.
living here compared to how we grew up. That was, our experiences.
Yeah.
Interesting, weird things that we do after living in Korea for a long time.
Yeah, and have you guys ever had any sort of culture shock, reverse culture shock, or just you've picked up habits that you just didn't know about when you were hanging out with different people from other countries or even living in another country? Because it's always infinitely interesting.
Yeah. Is there anything we do in the videos that you think is strange?
It's like from beginning to end.
Like this video. This
Yeah,
video.
they like tag every second of
Yeah.
the video.
Fair. This is
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
Like
Comment.
subscribe, the bell,
and share.
Share.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye. See you next time.
Mhm.
Bye.